This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Very Hard to Submit. Go to vhtsny.com and check out their kimonos, compression gear, and apparel. This is a brand we are excited to be supported by. Their gear is high quality with a clean design. Go to vhtsny.com and see for yourself.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Grappler Union podcast. Javier Palomo alongside Anthony Zito. Our guest today is Ed Serra, a BJJ Black Belt at Threshold Martial Arts. Enjoy.
I need the 6 minutes. That's what happens in that 6 minutes.
You told me using any technique that works. Never to limit myself to one style. Keep an open mind.
We're not here to take part. We're here to take over.
In order to become more peaceful, in order for you to become better and strategize your life.
All right, we're live, and we're talking about bands.
Yeah.
What band were you in?
Oh, I was.
Let's hear it.
Okay, this is probably, before I started training, so this had to be like 17 years ago. I was in a ridiculous metalcore band.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I played bass in a metalcore band.
Metalcore.
Metalcore, not just hardcore, not just metalcore.
Gotta smash them together.
Yeah, chug, mosh parts and
Really?
screaming and
What
all that
year
other
was this?
stuff. Oh, man, this is probably 2001 to 2002.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a self-admitted hardcore punk rocker kid who's nearing 40. So
My brother-in-law was also in a heavy. It was called Grigori 3. You ever heard of them?
I think I've heard of them, but I really
They were heavy,
yeah,
mosh.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
And he's like a blonde-headed white boy.
Oh, okay.
So weird. But he plays drums. Really,
takes
really
all
cool.
kinds.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
yeah. It was one of those things. Like I always joke, I put down the guitar and I put on a gi. That's what happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good timing.
Yeah.
Good trade.
Yeah, it was a great trade. It's always interesting to me too, because you have all these guys who are like, oh yeah, like some of the toughest guys I remember going, yeah, I want to train that jiu-jitsu stuff. I'm going to train that jiu-jitsu stuff, and I've never seen them hit the mat. There's been a few, and I know there's been a lot, especially in the last few years that I've been seeing. I think when they had that the black and blue ball up in New York, I think they do an open mat for charity up there, run by Jared Weiner, and he does it like.
Wait, you just said black and blue ball and wiener.
I know,
right
I know,
together.
I know,
Sorry.
I know. That's just, that's it.
Thank you for your maturity level, sir.
I've been hanging around with Paul all week, so
Is that the problem?
That's the problem.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. I think there's always been this weird melding of with the musicians, and you see it with all these celebrities nowadays.
Well, yeah, I mean, Harvey from the Cro-Mags is
Yes.
Renzo Gracie Black Belt.
Oh, yeah.
I've got his book. I'm still working my way through it because I've got a stack of books that I'm working my way through. But
Oh yeah, I've heard all his interviews and seen the pictures of him, and I guess he was super close with Hyen when he was alive, and all that other stuff. I've actually seen the Cro-Mags a couple of times, and at that point I didn't know he was in jiu-jitsu.
Right.
But it was just sort of oh, that makes so much sense now. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. No. So there's a couple of bands that have that going for them. But locally, I actually just found out. So I used to work with a guy, and sorry, I don't actually know the name of the current band where this is going on. So not that great of a story, I guess. But I used to work with a guy who plays guitar, does metal and whatnot. And I just found out that a buddy of mine sent me a video of him up on stage, and he's like, "Look who his bass guitarist is." And I'm looking, I'm like, "Holy shit! Is that Jeff Neal from Carlson Gracie team?"
Oh yeah, I've seen. I've actually seen pictures of him playing guitar. I don't know what type of music he plays, but I know he plays. He's been in bands I've seen, through Facebook posts and stuff like that. Oh yeah, Jeff Neal is playing with his band, and I'm like,
Right.
oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Jeff strictly through jiu-jitsu for probably, oh geez, man, it's got to be in excess of almost 20 years, almost early 2000s, I'd say, maybe even late 90s if I really think back on it. Gosh, yeah, actually, I do take that back. It is definitely late 90s, probably 1997. like we were never super close or anything, but I had no idea, like just literally no idea. And then somebody out of the blue, like, here's one of my former coworkers. Here's this guy on stage together.
Worlds collide.
Yeah.
Speaking of Carlson Gracie team, you are now Carlson.
Yes,
Gracie
we are part of
affiliate.
Carlson Gracie team. We just joined up, I want to say in October.
Oh, so super recent.
Yeah, it was very, very recent.
Now, sorry,
Yeah.
not to jump too much, but you guys also just moved.
Yes.
So Threshold used to be.
We used to be in downtown Des Plaines.
Mm-hmm.
We just moved. We probably moved northwest, probably about 2 miles. We're now at 133 Prospect Avenue in Mount Prospect.
All right. We're going to talk about two aspects of that location,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess we can talk some more jiu-jitsu first.
Of course.
I've been by there. It's a nice spot.
Oh yeah, it is a nice spot. It's
Right by the train.
right by the train, and I could totally nerd out. We've got
Yeah, that's the
why
detail. Yeah.
There's Games Plus right down the street for all our Dungeons and Dragons needs.
Yeah,
and then there's a
absolutely.
comic
Magic the
book shop.
Gathering.
And there's a comic book shop just
Oh,
down
no,
the street.
we're
from
not
it.
going down that road.
Oh, I think we
yeah.
just did.
Shit. You better get back on that Carlson Gracie talk real fast. You're going to derail this train.
So you were with Alliance prior to that, right? How'd that go?
You know what? I would say we were part of Alliance. I can't even remember how long ago that was, but we were part of Alliance for a number of years. I think we were. I don't want to say we were the first affiliate in Chicago, but I don't know if they had anything else going on. I know that there was a link with Sean Burke because whenever we had Jacare come for seminars, Sean would always be coming by to say hello, and Sean was a friend of the Academy's.
He's a great guy. We've had him on the podcast.
Yeah, he is a great guy. I've always liked Sean.
Yeah.
I've known him when I first started, 2003. So I met him, and he was always been a nice guy. And I know he my first instructor trained with him for a brief period when he started. So, but yeah, so he would come by. But I would say that I think what was going on with alliances, I think a little bit of the different goals were a little bit different. We've always been one of the smaller academies. We've always done really well when we had people in competition, but competition really isn't
Not the focus.
It's not the focus. It's always been self-defense, fitness. We do have people that compete, but it's never been the focal point.
Right.
Because I love like the modern competition jiu-jitsu, but I'm super into the self-defense and
Just
yeah,
more fundamental
the
stuff.
more fundamental stuff. I like doing all this crazy stuff, but when it
I've
gets,
seen your Instagram.
yeah, but when it comes to the down and dirty, it's just sort of like you got to keep it simple. You got to keep it simple and fundamental. Otherwise, there's too many moving parts that you have to remember. That's the one thing that we can get away with in the competition jiu-jitsu, because again, you've been hearing it a lot, like you add strikes to it and then jiu-jitsu changes,
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And you guys, you teach Muay Thai at the
Yes,
Academy,
I
right?
do teach Muay Thai. I'm now also a apprentice instructor at Ajahn Chai. 2018 was a big year for me as far as that goes.
Yeah, no
So,
kidding, man. I mean, congratulations on your black belt.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you.
congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Something I actually, goals that I've always wanted to do, but I never thought I'd get there. And all of a sudden I'm there, and I'm like, getting the black belt and getting my instructorship, I feel it sort of re-energized me. I don't feel like I'm any better than I was, but I just feel like re-energized and just want to be like,
New purpose.
New purpose, and I want
Yeah.
more. I want more. And like, I don't want to say that I've been done competing, but I think I have suffered some injuries that are like, when you are competing, you can you have to be aware of those type of things,
Right.
Because you don't want to further injure yourself. Right. So
Yeah, no, definitely the smart move there. But yeah, no, like Ajahn Chai, man, there's a name that goes back. I remember when, here it goes. When we were doing JKD, like that was the name whenever we would talk Muay Thai. And strangely enough, like his son does 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu.
yeah, anytime he's been into town, I've been always meaning to do it, but it's hard for me to get away from my academy on the weekdays because
Yeah,
a lot of
usually
those
it's weekend seminars.
Like
Yeah.
weekend seminars are the best time for me to do it. And weekdays, like I'm having to run my own classes. So.
Right. Now, know how that goes. The
Yeah.
struggles of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a tough dude.
Yeah. It's a great role.
Tough role, man. Whew.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm going to assume that he has probably way better Muay Thai than I do.
That's a good assumption. It's a good assumption.
Yeah. It's just,
When your dad's Ajahn Chai, you know.
Yeah.
I know it's just like one of those things. Like we see how Krone is with like his jujitsu, and you have to wonder because I've only seen bits and pieces of his MMA career. I've never seen like full fights. I've just seen here and there.
They are fairly jujitsu-y fights.
Yeah. I mean, I remember talking to Ajahn. He's just like, yes, my son do jujitsu, you know, and just Ajahn, if you're listening to this, I'm not trying to make fun of you. I love you. Just to let you know, don't make me do push-ups.
You know, I think the chances are slim that he's listening to the Grappler Union podcast. But if he is, we definitely want to get you on at some point.
But Krone's going to be fighting the UFC in a month or so. Or actually this month. I think February 19th.
I believe so, yeah.
I got to
This
double
month.
check, but that
I
sounds
think he's on the undercard, if I wasn't mistaken. That's strange, right?
I think for us it would be strange, but you have to think
he's
about
not a known-
He's not a known entity as far as
like,
MMA.
he's got the
His
name,
last name
though,
is
right?
Gracie,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not sure, man.
It's a weird thing. I mean, I don't really care for the new UFC website.
Oh, with the ESPN integration and whatnot, or just the website?
The
period?
website in general is
Okay.
just poor. I know where they're going with it because I do it for a living, but I just think the execution is just not there yet.
Hard to find the information you're looking for.
Hard to find the information, and when it's there, it's kind of glitchy and doesn't show well on the iPhone. Yeah, it's a little odd.
I have very much gotten in the habit of whenever I go to, and sometimes it's hard because like UFC has weird names for their events, you know, like Fight Night, blah blah blah,
Yeah, right,
and stuff
right.
like that.
I actually miss it when they had like Bad Blood. Yeah, I do because I thought it made it interesting. It's like
I don't mind
255, here we go.
Yeah, I don't mind the goofy like pro wrestling naming conventions, but I could not for the life of me tell you which events were which.
Yeah.
like numbers I can generally keep track of.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know, was that SummerSlam 412 or was it SummerSlam? You know, was it Hell in the Cell?
Right.
But
But
anyhow,
I think based on what I was trying to scroll down on when I was looking at the card, I was like, wow, man, he's on the like prelims, like pre-prelims.
the internet only prelims,
Fight
then?
Pass prelims.
Okay.
It looked like
Oh.
it, but I could be mistaken.
I'd have to look that up again. Yeah, I know
Like
it's
I was
coming
on
up.
my
I didn't
phone
know.
and I'm like, okay, if this is the order of the fights, then he's way down on that list.
Right.
That's kind of
I found
weird.
it's easier, and the UFC needs to not have this be the case. I found it's easier for me to find information on UFC events by typing in Wiki and just going to the Wikipedia. Somebody's already organized that shit on
is that
Wikipedia
right? Oh, that's
ahead of
good.
time. It's,
Yeah, I didn't
it's way
realize that.
easier to format and read. So yeah, that's usually what I'll just do. Like upcoming event, check the Wiki. Here's all the information. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of upcoming events, what do you think about the TJ Dillashaw versus Cejudo rolling it back at 135?
I mean, I get it. You know,
I think it makes
yeah.
sense.
I guess it does and it doesn't. You know, like I don't know that I want that to be the immediate rematch, but I also don't have like some other better plan for Cejudo. So
yeah, because I really don't even know what they're doing with what
Right, no,
with,
everything-
with any of those divisions. I mean,
With the 125 division?
yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
aren't they supposed to get rid
I
of
think,
it? Or?
I think
well, they've
they
gotten
are.
rid of it. Like
Yeah.
like most
Oh,
of the
it is
guys are
gone.
cut at this point. I thought.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
okay.
based on their website, Cejudo doesn't even have a belt like in his photo. So you have like all the belts, all the people with the belts, all the champions, and he has no belt. It's
well,
so
Dana's
sad.
probably still mad at him for beating his golden boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think after rewatching the fight a bunch of times, initially I'm like, oh, that was a good stoppage. Then I rewatched it a few times. I'm like, maybe that wasn't a really good stoppage. And two, Herb Dean should be reffing all the fucking championship fights.
I don't know about that. Herb's really
Really?
good, but he's had a few mess ups too.
yeah, he has had a few bets. I mean, I think everyone really has.
I think everyone had. Even
yeah.
John McCarthy had some mess ups, but they're not. I mean, you gotta let champions fight. Like he let things. Like look at the Frank Yeager versus Maynard fight. If they would have stopped that, Frank would never won that fight.
100%.
You know,
But we also don't know how many brain cells Frankie lost in making that comeback.
He still talks very well.
Right. That's not the only measure of these things. He may have no recollection of like the first 8 years of his life.
Possibly. That's normal anyway. He's not going to remember everything by the time he's 60. Come on.
Like here's the thing. Like I 100% I understand that TJ thinks that's an early stoppage. I will argue that it was a good stoppage.
I'm not saying that he would have won the fight.
Right.
I mean, based on the way Cejudo was moving, he was going to get beaten on more, for sure. But let it go, man. I mean, he was basically swinging around him. He had complete control of TJ. TJ couldn't really get out from where.
I want to say he took like 8 unanswered strikes in a row.
Many?
Yeah, I believe so.
Like I haven't actually seen the fight. I've only heard about it.
Spoilers.
Jeez. Like I'll leave the room for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, TJ lost that fight.
Oh my God, no.
Shocking. Yeah, in like 30 seconds. Right. I mean, it was over fast.
Yeah, that's what I did here.
And Cejudo looked good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm actually a big Cejudo fan, honestly. I think his wrestling's been phenomenal.
I generally like Cejudo. I don't love the way he got the belt.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree. I don't think he beat.
Right.
No.
I don't think he's. I mean, if the UFC pushed him correctly, I think they'd do fine with him. But like, he's not the most charismatic guy, so he's not like the superstar that they're looking for to build these days, which is fine by me because I'm just interested in what you can do in the ring personally. But I know that's always going to be an issue where they're like, oh, this guy doesn't have enough charisma. He's not the best in the world on the mic. He just knows how to kick ass. That's okay. That's what I'm there for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like pro wrestling. I don't.
Yeah. See, I keep them separate too.
Yeah, I don't even really like watching the actual in-ring stuff. I like watching the promos and all that other stuff, and even the backstage stuff. Yeah. I can give 2 shits about. Can I swear?
You can totally swear.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't give no 2 shits. Sorry, I don't give a shit about the actual action in the ring, because again, it's one of those things. Like when I'm watching MMA. And this is actually one of my things with MMA right now. It's like I'm not really learning anything when I'm watching MMA.
Okay.
And I think like a lot of the really good technicians, they're just overlooking because they're looking for more characters in MMA. Mm-hmm. I mean, you take a look at like a guy like Conor McGregor. He has an interesting style, but I think people are looking actually more at his character, his persona, more than they are like, oh yeah, we've got this loudmouth Irish guy. You either love him or you hate him. And
right. I mean, for sure, that's what's brought him the most success in terms of finances.
Yes.
I say this all the time. I really enjoy Conor's fights for the most part. I don't enjoy most of the antics around the fights.
Exactly.
Myself.
I mean, I do like watching him fight. I just don't like. For me, if I could just watch him fight and not have to deal with any of the pre stuff, I'm fine.
And that's gonna be interesting to see if the fight happens with Cerrone, how they both handle it. Because Cerrone's talked very nice to him, and he's talked actually back very nice. And it'd be nice to have at least one fight where it's Cerrone, which everyone loves Cerrone. Everyone loves, not everyone loves, but majority of people do like Conor.
Yeah.
And it'd be a good fight for both of them.
Right.
Well, not for, I mean, for Conor to kind of get back on the good
fans,
people's side.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. In pro wrestling parlance, this is a face versus face match. Okay. Neither of them has to play the heel. If anyone's going to, probably has to be Conor, because I really don't see Cerrone acting a jackass successfully against Conor.
And I'm really annoyed by Ariel Helwani and his way he came at Cerrone with like, I just want Cerrone to come back and not be all given so much respect to Conor. And one thing that, Paul and I were talking, we were just in Utah, and we were talking a lot, and he mentioned something, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I mean, Cerrone, since that incident with Conor, like way back in the day when he said some shit to him, and they had a little back and forth, I mean, Cerrone's had a child. And that's going to change you. Just maturing in 2 years is going to change you. He might not be that same guy he was when he was 20. None of us are. Right. So for Ariel Helwani to sit there and say, well, I want him to be... Fuck you, dude. Let the guy be who he's going to be now and leave that childish bullshit at the back. If he wants to be respectful because he's thinking about his child and his wife and he's got this whole family thing and he wants to go in there and kick ass, let him just do it peacefully. Why has he got to talk so much shit and be the old guy you think you should be? It's just ridiculous. That's really... Sometimes that guy annoys the fuck out of me.
Oh, that's true.
He's so like, come on, dude.
I always see him sort of like egging people on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the criticisms on Helwani's. He's always been sort of
likes to poke.
He likes to poke at the Bears. Like,
I'm pretty sure Dana's actually calls him out as like the instigator or something. Like he's got like a nickname like that.
Yeah.
Other than just the nose.
Yeah. But I like to see. I think that's a great fight for Conor. I think it's a great fight for Cerrone, and I think the fans want to see it. And for Conor to come back, and if Conor wins, puts him in a good light again.
So that's the thing. I think if you're going to have that face versus face match, Conor coming off a pretty bad loss,
Right.
this is a good opportunity for him to come in, do a good strong performance, win or lose.
Right.
Most likely win. I hate to say it, but
Really? Most likely?
I'm going to generally bet on Conor on this one.
I don't know, man. Cerrone's off the back, man. He's fucking nasty, dude. His jiu-jitsu's legit.
But he's gonna want to stand and bang
I understand
with Conor.
that, but
I don't.
at any point, if he thinks he's getting beat up,
I don't think he's got. So not that I think Conor has good takedown defense, especially after his last performance.
Right.
But he's also like Cerrone's not Khabib. Like Cerrone's takedowns are mid tier in the UFC. He's got decent percentage, but not upper tier percentage for takedowns. Oftentimes, when he beats guys on the ground, it's off a knockdown or him getting taken down, going to his back and pulling some shit out.
Right.
So like. Connor's probably not going to try and take Cerrone down.
No.
He's just going to want to keep it standing. I think Connor's
But Conor throws a lot of kicks, and
He does.
Cerrone can easily jack one of those kicks and kick him down.
And Cerrone's always had
or
like
Cerrone will just be like, "Yeah, I'm going to kick you back."
That's true. That's true. That's what probably going to happen.
That's the dynamic. I think that's
Right.
I mean, maybe Cerrone's like, I have to win at all costs. You know,
I mean, either way, he's a
gonna-
huge payday. Win or lose, he's getting paid.
Right.
So, I mean, would he want to beat Conor? 100%.
Oh, of
I
course,
can't
of
imagine
course.
he would not want to
No,
go
no.
in there beating him.
Although,
And if jiu-jitsu's the way to do it, I guarantee he'll do that.
I'm just he has to have a game plan, and he has to be able to take it there. And I don't know that he's going to be able to against
Right.
Conor, and because there's certainly other guys that have fought and not succeeded with Conor. Regardless, obviously the UFC wants Conor to win. I think that's their biggest hope because then he gets a win, gets back on track.
Yeah.
continues to talk more and
Right. Can then talk mad shit about the next target.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all eyes on the UFC, and they got to pay that debt back. So they need as much as they can.
But yeah, no, I think that's gonna be hopefully a great fight. I like the matchup. It looks good to me.
Did you see Pettis moving up to 170?
I heard about that, and I'm
Really?
Yeah, dude, against Thompson.
yeah.
I remember them talking about that, but
Dude,
I don't,
that's bizarre.
Yeah, I know.
All right, I know we got a lot of fans in the area that train up at Rufus and whatnot, but I gotta say I don't like this move for your boys, guys.
I don't know about this one.
Yeah, like somebody talk him out of it.
That's a little weird. I don't know. I mean, his last performance against that he had a doctor stoppage.
Yeah, that was against Ferguson.
Ferguson, he looked good.
Yeah,
He
Good
did
at
look-
55.
He did look good at 55. I like that.
What's
that
he going to
weight, man.
170?
He looked good. It was a good fight. I mean, there was a lot of goofiness because it's a Ferguson fight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of goofiness going on there. So like,
But he didn't-
I would
he
want to
didn't look bad.
No, he didn't look bad. I'm just like, I would want to rewatch it. Like
maybe.
with that eye for detail, because there was just a lot of crazy shit going on, near knockouts and shit.
Right.
But
how's he gonna look against Thompson's giant?
my prediction is terrible.
Giant. The guy is
Yeah.
fucking giant.
And he's so unorthodox, especially with his karate style. Yeah.
Right. Like
So what's the game plan? If say he beats him, what's he gonna do? Fight Woodley? How's that gonna look?
I don't imagine that could
they
happen.
train together.
Yeah.
I don't even
Yeah.
understand.
I mean-
why would he even go to that division? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
There's always Covington. That's the next one.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if and maybe he's talked about this. I'm not sure if he really wants to permanently go up or if he just was like, no, I want to fight Wonder Boy. This may be,
maybe that's
not
it.
personal, but like he may think that that's a good style matchup. Whereas I'm like, no, man, he's like bigger than you and does a lot of the stuff you do at a much higher level.
Yeah, that's what I would be
Like
thinking
that's
too.
my thought. Like, and again, like no offense to Pettis, because he's had like some amazing kick punch wars. Like his striking is really good.
Yeah.
But I feel like Wonder Boy's on a much higher level in that field. So like, jiu-jitsu again. Like,
Jiu-jitsu's legit.
jiu-jitsu the
That's
way?
for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
but I just when I see that, I'm like, Jesus, Thompson just seems so much bigger.
Yeah.
It's gonna look really strange in there.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know. I guess I haven't actually seen them next to each other, but
Yeah, I don't think
Pettis
I have.
isn't, to my recollection, a huge 155er.
No.
And yeah.
Did he fight at 145? Before?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
why I'm like when I
Well,
think he
yeah,
went
he's
down
also
I'm like,
45.
He's grown up in the ring also. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Like
True. Yeah. I mean, he's had a lot of fights.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
he's
yeah, for sure.
He's fought the best of the best and
But yeah,
beat
like-
the best of the best.
Like the highlight reel that they never stopped playing, much to
Right.
Benson Henderson's chagrin.
I mean, he's beat
like
Cerrone back in the WEC days.
Yeah.
right, yeah.
So, I mean, he's-
he beat Cerrone. You know, he had an absolute war with Benson Henderson.
Yep.
You know, like so he's gone up against guys that are big in that division, but I don't feel like he was ever like the big guy.
Right.
When unless I'm
Because
just
Wonder Boy walks around 2 something at least, I would think.
I would think so. If he's going to be dropping down to like welterweight, I would think he's coming in a lot bigger.
195,
Yeah.
somewhere on there.
I don't know. I actually don't know how much weight Wonder Boy cuts, honestly. But yeah, in my mind,
I mean,
he's
he looked
really
big. He looked bigger than Woodley when they fought. I mean, taller.
Well, not jacked.
certainly.
Not more jacked.
Not as thick as Woodley. No, but jacked for sure. But yeah, this might be a one and done 170 and see how it is, see how he feels. Or I mean, he's had a lot of injuries, and maybe keeping the weight on would help that.
right.
His injuries. Is,
Yeah, I certainly don't mind fighters moving around
Kiesa
weight
looks
classes.
good at 170.
Yeah.
Fucking just beat Natural Born Killer Carlos Condit.
Yeah,
Fuck, he looked good in that. Dude.
Born Killer might be on the way out.
Yeah, I always thought those last few fights, like, because I know he retired, then he came back.
He should have
and-
stayed retired.
Yeah, he should have.
Call it a day.
I'm
I
pretty sure.
love that guy. I love
pretty sure
great
almost
fights.
everyone that has retired from this sport and come back, I still think should have stayed retired.
BJ
George
Penn-
George
BJ
St.
Penn.
Pierre might be the only exception that comes to immediate mind.
The only exception
Yeah.
is for sure. But BJ Penn, Hoist Gracie, those guys should have stayed retired for
Yeah.
sure. I don't know what BJ Penn's thinking.
I think it's just BJ Penn. That's all he knows. I mean,
Really?
Well,
the guy can just sit back and just relax, man.
I know it's.
I think that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Like,
Go do some
he still
jiu-jitsu.
wants it. I think.
Yeah.
Let him just do jujitsu. Although he's got to get his leg lock game in order.
Damn.
For sure.
Your leg lock game has to be in a pretty high order when you're going against Ryan Hall.
That was, what about that entry though, Hav?
Oh well, yeah, but
Fuck,
we can
that
talk
entry
about
was nice. Man.
Man, it's making the rounds now. You get like folk style like kids in grammar school doing it on each other.
Yeah, that the amount of what the fuck that I've seen from like the wrestling crowd that doesn't train MMA, isn't aware that that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like what is this kid doing? I'm like, oh yeah, that's an inverted shot, man.
Yeah.
Like that's just normal.
Now, how much do you think they're actually? Because these kids are watching MMA. They have YouTube. It's not like when we were coming up.
Right,
You're
right.
like, what's going on? Like the people that are maybe commenting on it, or they've never seen stuff like that, but they're not the ones watching YouTube. It's like these
Right.
kids are coming watching. Like, oh, that's interesting.
Right.
What is that called? Imanari roll.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
I'm going
okay.
down a Google rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah. No. I thought that was actually that was a good shot.
It
Like,
was.
It was a good inverted
yeah,
shot.
definitely.
But yeah, no, I deal with this. I assume everyone in their own respective academy has at least one of these dudes. Where I've got actually a pair of them, a pair of white belts that I work with. Where it's like, so what's your experience level? 0. Come in trying all this shit. I'm like, I thought you said you hadn't done this before. And you're like, well, I watch YouTube.
Nice.
Like, seriously? Oh, yeah, and we kind of roll in my backyard before, and it's like, okay. So not 0 experience, just 0 official experience.
Official,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, I was kind of like that, too. We were trying to figure stuff out in my buddy Jeff's basement. Like, what was that weird thing Hoist Gracie did with his legs against Dan Severn? And I don't know. How did that work?
Right.
Had no training, just trying to figure it out.
Right.
Mistakes are made.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, I think I got into it right before YouTube happened.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just sort of like I just remember all the websites like SureDog, and even I think the one that I went to was Subfighter, which is no longer around.
Right.
Subfighter was one of the really good community on that one. It was a shame it just sort of went to the wayside.
Man, once YouTube became a thing, like private, dedicated websites sharing content wasn't really the way to go anymore.
Oh, definitely.
Unless they're now obviously more
They
so
got subscription based.
Now we
Yeah.
got behind a paywall type stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And those are popping up just everywhere, man. Like,
Well, now the people who develop those sites are basically just selling that framework, and anyone can just have it now.
right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Right.
you could have one, I can have one. How we could all just do it, and just now it's a whole marketing advertising.
I'm
game.
starting one very soon. Just kidding.
Is it gonna be a Dungeons and Dragons one?
It will be.
I bet.
Like I teach people how to cast magic missile. Like boom. There
At
we
the
go.
darkness.
In the darkness. Oh, I can't see. Okay, rear naked choke. Here we go.
Everything would be better.
It would be.
But yeah, that framework is now being developed, and someone developed it, and they're just reselling it, just like WordPress or any of those other type of like frameworks. You can just buy a theme and slap a picture on and call it a day.
Yeah, just from my own personal, and this might have been, he might have had this for a while, so, you know, I don't really know, but one that just popped onto my radar recently is I didn't know Mark Munoz has a pay site.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. And he teaches on there. I'm not a subscriber. You know, I somebody linked to it and I followed it and kind of read up on it. But yeah, he teaches like wrestling for like folk style wrestling, and then like submission grappling, and then MMA techniques. So he's got like wall wrestling. He's got, you know, subs. He's got takedowns. He's got all kinds of stuff. Allegedly, you know, just appropriate to each individual sport. And I'm like, that's cool as hell. Like, you know, Mark Munoz, very well respected wrestling competitor, and then also, you know, a lot of really high level guys have trained with him to up their MMA wrestling game. So to have a guy like that having a pay site, that sounds like that's probably a great idea.
Yeah. I think it's those name things. Like, again, anybody can have it, but I think it's sort of hard to start one without like some sort of name recognition.
Oh yeah. No,
I mean, you see these guys like just even on YouTube. I think you see all these sites are like, what did I see the other day? Become unbeatable, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I have no idea who you are, dude.
Right.
This is like,
yeah, you kind of have to, like, if Marcelo Garcia, obviously he's got MG in action, but if Marcelo Garcia was offering a course to become unbeatable, I would be a little more prone to believe it than if, you know, Joe Black Belt from middle of nowhere America had, you know, become unbeatable.
Exactly. I'm just sort of like, I'm just like, and sometimes I'll go down the rabbit hole and just see what they have, and I'm like, they're just like fundamental techniques, or there might be some other stuff on there, but it's just like, it's not any strategy in how to do it. It's just, here you go. This is step A, step B, step C, and here you go. There's a submission.
Master Ken's 20 favorite moves.
There you go.
Well, maybe not. Okay, I shouldn't have said Master Ken. That's its own thing, obviously.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, those YouTube, you know, I sometimes go down those rabbit holes. I try to look for like older fights that I've seen prior to all of my recent jiu-jitsu experience, and then deconstruct the fights, like, oh, now I know what he's doing. Oh, I'll even go back to the Hoyler versus Eddie, like the first one, and I'm like, oh, fuck, that setup. That's how he got him in that. Right. Even the second one, I'm like, oh, now I see all the little chains and what they were trying to do. Just even, I mean, I've been doing jiu-jitsu 4 years now.
But your perspective has changed a lot in those 4 years.
My perspective has definitely changed a lot. And it's
definitely.
going to keep, you know, going.
You know, so like I do watch and you know, purchase a lot of instructionals. I like seeing, you know, what the new hot technique is. You know, like if I find a guy who I like his teaching style, I'll just get like everything he puts out there. Like Riley, you know, Riley's a perfect example of that. Riley released anything, got it day one. But every once in a while, I'll also experiment and be like, oh, this, I don't know what this is. This seems weird, and see, like, maybe I can fit that in my game, or if it's not appropriate for me, you know, maybe I've got a student who you know, might benefit from that kind of stuff. But over the years, I've also gotten progressively more into, like, doing tape study on specific competitors and fighters. And what I've started doing is, like okay, so this last, basically, you know, January at LCCT, we've been doing a lot of closed guard stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, who comes to mind, like competitor-wise, in somewhat recent years, mind you, as like the closed guard guy? So, of course, I've been studying a lot of Hodger Gracie.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
of course.
Like just, you know, total rice and beans game. But here's the thing. I've seen his matches like 1,000 times before, like just back and forth here and there. It's like, oh, you know, like he's fighting Jacare. You know, like I've definitely seen that one several times. That's a pretty famous one and whatnot. But yeah, so like Buchecha and all these fights, I've seen them, but like I don't always have that moment to like go through and analyze individual details. And so while I was, you know, going through like all this closed guard stuff, I was like, man, Hodger's known for his closed guard, and I've never actually sat back and thought about it. You know, like very few guys are known for their closed guard in modern competitive jiu-jitsu. You know, what's he doing so special for that he both gets, retains, and finishes the close guard. And one of the first things I focused on was I looked at some of his, his famous matches, and I really wanted to focus in how's he getting close guard. And I was surprised that consistently he was getting close guard in basically one of two ways. But the main way is just like a fake, like it's a guard pull, but like he's going for like an armbar threat guard pull. So as they go to defend the armbar, he just sucks him into close guard and then just locks it in and keeps it and finishes from there. And pretty consistently, whenever he would get close guard, that was one of his main tactics to get that close guard was to do the guard pull armbar, and then just And I was like, that's interesting, because certainly other guys do it, but nobody is as good at putting that chain together and finishing from there.
He's just so built for jiu-jitsu. Like his whole framework.
To be fair,
he's fucking.
He doesn't have hobbit legs like me, but
I mean, he's just built for jiu-jitsu. Just some of those guys. Like I get people in the academy. I teach the beginners class, so we get like new white belts, and I just look at some of these guys. I'm like, man, you're fucking built for jiu-jitsu. Jesus, if you stick with it, could be awesome. Not all of them stick with it, but you just have that always look in your mind. You look at that guy, you're like, fuck, man, he could be really good. But
different body types, different games. But there are definitely certain people where I've been like, man, you've got so much mechanical advantage in your frame.
Right.
Long arms, long legs is something maybe I just envy it because I don't have it.
Oh, I'm the same with you, right there with you.
But yeah.
But you make it work, Hav, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, in my own way, but like nobody's ever going to come to me and be like, sir, I've heard you have a devastating triangle. Would you please teach to me?
That's no triangle seminars, Hav?
Man, I would 100% do that. I'd be like, triangle chokes for short people right here.
Show us. Show us the way.
Yeah, and that would be one where I'd be like, listen, if you're over 5'6", get the fuck out.
Exactly.
I've always had trouble with the triangle. I always say that like out of 16 years of doing jiu-jitsu, it's just sort of like it's only been the last probably like 3 or 4 years, and I'm like, I've had a decent triangle,
right?
And it's just sort of like sometimes I'll just pick something. I'll be like, okay, that's all I'm going to work on. That's all I'm going to work on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm not going to ignore everything else, but I'm just going to try to go for that.
Right.
And right now it's the triangle, because now that I have a decent grasp on how the triangle works. Let me make it work for me better.
Right. Right.
So,
I mean, my personal thing is, and again, this plays into other aspects of my game, but I do a lot of back takes for the crucifix and whatnot, and so I've had way higher percentage success, and I still don't always finish with the choke itself, mind you, but my highest percentage success triangle is become the back triangle.
I'm finding that for myself too.
And like anyone who's got little legs will probably be able to cut the angle better from that position than from like close guard triangle, for example.
Definitely.
It takes a lot less work to get like all the angles correct and everything. But even then, like I'll be sitting there and like trying to finish with a triangle and whatnot. I'm like, this is too much work. I'm just gonna Kimura you,
Right.
So, but yeah. So like little things like that. I probably do have enough material like in the back of my head where I could teach like a triangle seminar and not feel like a fucking fraud, but I can't imagine anyone actually wanting to bring me out for a triangle seminar. Right. I actually have, shameless self-promotion here. I actually have seminars coming up here in February. I'm going to be over at Olympus doing a Sambo focus seminar. I was just over there for the Schweijaz seminar. We should talk about that for a second. But I'll be doing a Sambo seminar.
That creepy photo you posted.
What are you talking about creepy? Wait.
It looked a little strange. I
did see the photo, but I don't want to get into that
you didn't
part.
See the photo?
I did see the photo, but I'm like,
what the fuck am I looking at?
Is it just the Schweijaz uniforms scare you? I guess
it was all weird looking to me.
Okay, we'll come back to that. But
Thank you.
So I'm doing a Sambo seminar over there on the 9th.
Right.
And then I'm going to be up in Milwaukee doing like a leg lock focused one at Red Schaefer's Academy. Nice. I'm going to work my...
Can you bring Red?
Yes. I'm promising on air that I'm going to do the very best that I can to
ravishing Red, huh?
Yeah. To get Red Schaefer in studio. I'm going to talk to him at his academy. I'm going to pressure him. I might film him being like, Red, you promised to come. Yeah.
Yes.
We've been talking about it forever. We want to bring him in, and I'm going to use this opportunity to try
How far away is he? He's not that far.
I mean, it's just a Milwaukee, man.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's not bad.
I mean, like,
Yeah, tell him come in on like a Sunday afternoon or
Yeah,
something,
well-
or Saturday afternoon or whatever.
Right.
Actually, have him roll in to Minetko's. We'll do a little training.
Oh.
And then afterwards we'll...
should I invite him to one of our little guy open mats at some
absolutely
point in the
not.
future?
Absolutely not. No little guy open mat for Red Schaefer.
Man,
It's a little bit of the opposite. So.
one of his tree trunk sized legs probably weighs as much as me. I swear.
Speaking of our open mats coming up pretty soon.
It
buddy.
is.
February 24th.
Yep.
And if you don't know me, I do not fit into that at all.
Yeah,
I'm a
no.
fatty. That's why I like jujitsu. I can be lazy, and I just be like, just be really efficient and not have to move as much. That's why.
That is a game.
That's why I love jujitsu.
Yeah. But okay, so sorry. So what's wrong with the photo that I
let
took?
it go. It's okay. Let the people judge it for
You got me
themselves.
concerned now, man. Well, I posted it on Instagram. It's there for
It's
everyone
there
to see.
forever. There you go. At the Hav 13. Check it out. Leave your comments.
Oh man, controversy coming my way. I don't know what's up with that, but it was an awesome seminar.
Was it?
Yeah. Well, you would have hated every minute of it.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, Shuaijiao.
Is that the shoes you brought in?
No.
Oh, what
the shoes
shoes?
I brought in are my Sambo shoes.
Those are
although,
badass.
yes, thank you. I love them. But although I did wear them at there because
Okay.
in Shuaijiao you do wear shoes.
Okay.
Most of the guys chose not to because they probably are jiu-jitsu guys that don't own Sambo or wrestling shoes. But yeah, Shuaijiao is a strictly stand-up art. It's all throws. It's unlike
That's what the Mongolian, the leather vest or something
okay,
like that?
so
with
it's
the
not a
tits
leather
hanging
vest. Okay, yes,
Yeah.
but no. Okay,
Yes,
so,
but no. Okay.
So the Mongolian style is called bok. Okay. And they wear a different uniform, but very closely related. Like the Mongolians compete in Shuaijiao, you know, and whatnot. So yeah, very very similar styles in a gross sense, but like different uniform, different preferences on technique. But yeah, like Mongolian Shuaijiao players, just like Mongolian judoka and Mongolian wrestlers, savages, just absolute savages.
I bet.
And Laval, who's teaching the summer, he's actually moving to Inner Mongolia in like 2 weeks.
That's crazy. Like I've known some Mongolians that are always sort of like very nice people. Very nice people.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you guys are savages. I know your
They're
background.
dark,
Like,
man. They got to
yeah.
be really dark. That's going like back in the day when they murdered everybody.
I mean, they're not
Fuck.
currently riding around on horseback in their country invading
I agree,
anyone.
but we are like what is it like the statistic for that? Like
Oh, you're about to bring up the crazy
like
Genghis Khan thing?
Yeah, Genghis Khan, like his genes are still like in the world right now.
Yeah,
and, like descendants of descendants of descendants.
Right. He impregnated like a huge
Yeah,
portion. Yeah,
the
a
giant.
huge portion of the world can trace
Great
somehow
Khan.
back
Khan!
to different cons, sir.
I
But good
know.
reference.
But still, thank you.
What was that?
Did you say what was that?
That was Conan the Barbarian. What was it? What was it?
That was the Wrath of Khan. That was
Oh yeah,
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Oh God, no, I would never have gotten that one. What? Fuck that. Can't
Do you
it.
like anything fun, sir?
I just told you I came back from Utah snowboarding.
It sounds like bullshit. That's an injury-prone activity unrelated to
Although,
jiu-jitsu.
let me give you a little story from a little excitement I had. So, Paul and I went snowboarding in Utah. A couple of my friends, we met up there, and I'm coming down. The first day we're at Brighton, and it's fucking powder everywhere. It's snowing. It's beautiful. So
We also had powder here.
yeah, I know, but you're a little colder.
Yeah.
So-
How crazy is that? You were in the mountains of Utah and it was warmer there.
Warmer there, yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
So Paul and I got split up. He went down, and so I was following. And Paul's a lot better than me at snowboarding. So
Don't ever admit that again.
sorry, I have to. So I'm following him, and it gets to like a flat area, and I'm like, fuck, man, I don't have enough speed to pass this little flat area. So I had to unbind and start walking a little bit just so I strap back in and go down. So I'm like unstrap, and there's no one really around. The lift is like maybe 400 yards away, and I'm just by, open field and some trees. So I'm buying and I'm walking, and I sit down and I look to my right and I see something like rolling like down like by the tree area, by the side of the mountain. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm looking, I'm like, is that a fucking bear? Like, this is probably about 70 yards from me, 100 yards at the most. I'm like, no fucking way that a fucking bear. It's like I see its black fur just rolling. I'm like, because I initially thought it was a person and maybe they were injured because the way they was moving. I'm like, why is that?
So they're rolling downhill here?
rolling like it wasn't like down the hill, but it was like down like a little bit where the trees would be.
Okay.
So I'm like, fuck, dude, if that's a fucking bear, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Because if there's like a baby bear, the mother must be somewhere around, or if it's going in hibernation, or I don't know what the fuck is going on. So I'm like, keep an eye on this, trying to strap in, and I'm like bouncing, trying to get the
You
fuck
just
going.
turned yourself into a fucking penguin.
Exactly. So I'm like, fuck, I gotta get out of here. So I'm like passing the tree now where I saw it roll into the tree. And I'm like, there must be a den or under the ground, right? Where it goes to.
Sure.
So I go down, I meet up with Paul. I'm like, dude, I just saw a fucking bear. He's like, get the fuck out of here. No, you didn't. I go, I swear, is it a bear or something? I don't know. It had fucking fur and it was rolling. He's like, do you know where it was at? I go, I absolutely do know where it's at. He goes, okay, let's go. I'm like, all right, man. So we go back up the lift, fucking cruise. It takes us about, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes to get to where it was again. But we were cruising down. I'm like, okay, stop right here. So
this right here sounds like the bad move. Like,
Yeah,
this
right?
is the part where if I'm eating popcorn
Yeah.
and I'm watching this on screen, I'm like, no, don't do that.
Exactly.
Don't go in there, you're gonna get killed.
I'm like, do you want to go? Let's go. So we sit down. I'm like, okay, it was right there. I was rolling down, and all of a sudden we look up. It's in the fucking tree. I'm like, dude, it's right there in the fucking tree. It's like moving up the tree. It's climbing the fucking tree. And you see like the brownish fur and like a light brown fur and some black. I'm like, you see it? He's like, yeah, I see it. I'm like, what the fuck is it? He goes, I don't fucking know. He goes, but let's get the fuck out of here. I go, all right. I go, you sure you don't want to get closer? He goes, no fucking way. Let's just go. I'm like, all right, let's go. So we strap in, we go down. I'm like, what the fuck could it be? He goes, I don't think it was a fucking bear. And then he's like, I think it was a fucking Wolverine. I'm like, yeah, a fucking Wolverine. So we go back down and we're Googling and we're looking. I'm like, fuck, that could be a fucking Wolverine. Because it looked very similar to a bear.
Right.
Smaller, climb the fucking tree.
I mean, bears do climb trees.
They do.
Yeah.
But bears hibernate. So why would it be odd that it's a bear?
Well,
so
okay.
Wolverine. We're like, fuck, that was a Wolverine. Those things are gangster as fuck. So luckily we got the fuck out of there. And then Paul's like, well, let me go ask some people around here, like what wildlife would be able to see out here now. So he goes and I don't know if he's getting like a beer or something from the concession stand, and he comes back to the table and goes, dude, I just asked some people over there, and I said, what could possibly be out there? And they said, most likely we see porcupine. I'm like, what? A fucking porcupine?
Porcupines also climb trees.
They also climb trees, but man, I'm like, this must have been a pretty big fucking porcupine because it looked, I mean, it was up in the tree, but.
Okay, so to clarify.
Yes.
One, I'm not sure that Wolverines get down to the Utah area. I
Maybe not.
literally don't know, but
No
I'm
idea.
pretty sure more northern than that. I'd have to look that up to say
Okay.
with any authority. So yeah, when you said that, I'm like, huh, really?
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm now trying to piece together how you could possibly interpret a porcupine as a bear, but I've just realized you kept saying rolling, like that was
maybe
very
badger?
probably the shifting of
Right.
their spines,
Exactly.
playing tricks on your eyes.
Exactly. Well, you're not used to, it's all white, and then
Yeah.
you just see
You
like
see- yeah.
an odd shape, and I'm not used to seeing a fucking giant porcupine.
They're not that big, but yeah,
It looked big to me,
that
especially when it was up in the tree. It was fucking up there. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But yeah,
no, they get to a decent
probably
size.
a porcupine. However, Wolverine just sounds so badass. Like,
Yeah, no. When you tell this story again in the future, you definitely want to leave out the part where you mistook a porcupine for a bear and a Wolverine. She's like, no, man, it was a fucking Wolverine.
Fucking Wolverine,
last
man.
one in Utah.
but it was a good time, man. It was good, regardless of whatever it was. But we had a fucking blast, man. And I suggest, and if anyone goes to Utah and they're looking for a place to snowboard, my favorite mountain is Snow Basin. It is the fucking best. It's the best.
And this is your option to sort of live the jiu-jitsu surfer life without risking a shark attack. Now
Yes.
you just have to worry about bear,
Porcupines.
Wolverine, porcupine.
Porcupine
attacks.
attacks.
Exactly. That's the only thing I have to worry about.
Man, I will say, you took a tumble into that porcupine. That'd end badly.
That would definitely end badly, right? But yeah, it was good. It was a good time, man.
Oh, glad you had a blast. Didn't get eaten by a bear or a Wolverine.
Or Wolverine.
I'm not going to say it.
Paul said he could
Or
fight a
badger.
Wolverine, though. A badger, yeah, that'd be nasty. Paul said he could fight the Wolverine. He would actually fight it. I'm like, dude, I don't know if you'd end well. He goes, but I'm not going to let it just eat me. I'm going to have to fight against it. I'm like, I don't know, dude.
Paul, I'm letting you know right now you're going to lose.
Think you? Yeah. Porcupine, maybe a win.
porcupine's not going to fight him. It's an herbivore. Like
It's got to curl up and say, please don't harm me.
yeah,
at
it's
all.
going to turn its tail and
That's why I think he could beat that
aggressively.
one.
Yeah, it's going to aggressively thrust its spines towards him in a warning manner.
Does it?
They
spit
don't
out-
shoot them.
They don't shoot
yeah,
spines.
No. They
Is that just
come-
in cartoons they did that.
Probably
most-
just like
yeah.
a video game convention.
cartoons, comic books, the
Right,
dreams of nerds everywhere. But yeah, no, they don't actually shoot them out. But okay, so this has nothing to do with our podcast. But so the spines are actually just modified hairs, and they come loose. So like when a predator attacks them, you see like. Probably
Cats.
don't want to Google this, but you look up like dog versus porcupine or mountain lion versus
Mountain
porcupine.
lion,
Yeah, and you're going to see like all these horrible white protrusions.
Yeah,
those
I've
are the
seen it.
spines,
Yeah.
blood everywhere. Yeah, those come free. They grow them back. Like I said, they're basically just hairs.
Right.
You know, really thick, pointy hairs. But yeah, they don't throw them at you or anything. The closest it comes to that is they will like they whip the tail, which doesn't look like much of a tail because of the way the spines sit. But they kind of like whip their tail defensively. The spines all point backwards, so they want to keep their head away from the predator. And you know, if it hits something, the spines will come loose. So not like they're throwing them for distance, but
Right.
they'll kind of like back up into something, and then
Right.
it gets poked and hopefully runs away. And porcupine takes off and is like, yeah, I showed that snowboarder.
And that was Hav's zoology moment. Thank you very much.
I have vast knowledge of a variety of utterly useless topics. Right now, we've probably got somebody who's like, like they do jujitsu and they work at like Brookfield Zoo, and they're like, "No, this was supposed to be my moment."
Why did you bring me on?
All right. Shout out if we got any zoologists on that also do jujitsu, we'll bring you in for a special animal style jujitsu lesson. We'll go over Keenan's various guards and how they actually relate to the animals they're named after.
What do you think about what's his name?
How did this bring something up?
Well, because you said Keenan, I thought of
You had to
Keenan.
bring up Gordon Ryan.
Gordon Ryan.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we brought up JKD, so
Yeah, might as well. So Gordon Ryan doing MMA now. I didn't know he dropped the gi. Like Paul informs me of all this stuff. He's like, dude, you know Gordon Ryan.
Good to know that our former co-host has his ear to the ground in jiu-jitsu.
He does. He
Yeah,
goes,
still-
dude, would you start following people? I'm like, fuck that. I can't follow anybody anymore. I quit.
You're done?
I quit following people.
I thought you were still watching videos and stuff, though.
That's it.
Do you
won't-
follow people on the Instagrams and whatnot?
I do somewhat. It's just like it's fun to just see how these people live sometimes, and you know, seeing when they do post like something for technique and stuff. Like, oh, I like that.
I like that. But
yeah.
you know, I was following, which was my favorite, the Mendez brothers.
Yeah.
But you know, no offense, I just don't want to see their family or their kids. It's just I don't really care to see. I don't care. I don't.
You
I don't,
just want jiu-jitsu.
just show me jiu-jitsu. I
Yeah,
don't really know
that's
about
fair.
your
That's
personal
fair.
life. I
That's
don't
fair.
really know
Yeah.
what your kids look like.
Tell you what,
I'm
so
not
you
interested.
Here's what you can do. You can start your own Instagram, call it Mendez Brothers Jiu-Jitsu Techniques, and you just repost all of their good stuff.
I mean,
you want somebody to feed it to
their
you.
jiu-jitsu technique and whoever manages, if it's them, dude, it's fantastic. But when they start throwing other kids, it's like
It loses you.
It loses me.
Is that on their personal, or did they have that like the art
That's
of
on their.
jiu-jitsu?
That's on their Mendez brothers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Zito's like, listen, I understand you're trying to market that your school is good for families and whatnot,
Yeah.
but fuck you, just show me more omoplatas.
Just show me. I could just watch Rafa Mendez roll. Like with everybody. Just watching that dude move is like inspirational. It's fucking amazing. But yeah, I had to stop. I stopped following him. So
Wow.
yeah.
How many family photos did it take before you were just like, fuck it, done?
A lot, actually. It
Oh,
took a
okay,
lot.
really?
I'm not
Okay.
gonna lie. It took a lot, and I think the last one they went on some kind of vacation. I'm like, I'm out. I don't need to see you on vacation. Like,
You having fun without me.
I don't care that you're on cars at Disneyland.
right?
Show me arm bars. Thank you.
Yes. But yeah.
Harsh criteria, but
So yeah, I didn't know that Gordon Ryan was quitting the gi and now is just going to focus on MMA.
yeah, he actually did he was on Helwani's show.
Yeah,
when he talked
that was
about
fairly
wasn't it?
recently.
Yeah.
I thought he gave up the gi like a while ago.
Oh, did he?
But yeah.
Okay, so he made a big thing that he was like coming for all your necks,
Right.
In the gi. That he. I don't remember if it was like the first post he made about it, but pretty early on, he was like, real talk. It's going to take me a while to get up to that
because
level.
he was trading with Keenan for a small period of time,
Right.
Just to be that whole thing.
Right,
Like, I want to get back.
and
because I
Keenan was
did hear
kicking the
that.
shit out of him in
Yeah,
the gi.
yeah.
as one would not be surprised,
Right.
But yeah, so like he very much stated like, this is going to take me a while. It's not going to be like an overnight transformation. I'm not under like the false impression that I'm just going to completely modify my no-gi game and just instantly dominate the gi world. It's going to take time. And then very recently he was like, I'm really not enjoying this journey at all. And I'm wasting a lot of my time trying to get good at something I'm not going to like pursue.
Yeah, I mean, if that's his thing, then yeah, for sure, do MMA.
Well,
drop the gi.
His claim, and I'm pretty sure I heard actually DeBlast say this like years ago, was that like he only got into jiu-jitsu because he wanted to become an MMA fighter.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But then he got like super obsessed with jiu-jitsu, thus the reason why his Instagram handle is Gordon Loves Jiu-Jitsu. And just that's been his path to success. So now he's doing, regular MMA training mixed in with his jiu-jitsu training, and I think the gi was just like, nah, bro.
No, it's not, I mean, it's not for everybody.
But I'm sure at least the majority of people probably think it's like, I found something you weren't good at, and it got frustrated and gave up.
Possibly.
That's true.
Possibly. I mean, the gi is it's not easy. Fuck. Especially, when I went from no gi for 2 years, then did gi for the past 2 years. Fuck, it was not easy for me to transition as I thought it would be.
To this day, because I come originally personally from a no-gi background, but then, learned gi through judo and sambo and whatnot. To this day, I still have a very no-gi in the gi kind of approach. Like, yeah, but I've talked about this a little bit. I've gotten better at using certain grips and playing certain guards. Like I play around with spider guard now more than I used to. I still don't get super grippy with it. Like it still bothers my hands and I don't like it. But yeah, so there's definitely stuff that I do in the gi that I can't do when the gi's not there. But my game doesn't change dramatically because I'm not doing shit like worm guard and a ton of lapel guard stuff and whatnot.
No lasso?
I do play lasso, but I play lasso in no-gi still. So, like the way I grip it and use it, like I'm not doing a lot of super intricate lasso stuff.
Okay.
Like a lot of that loose lasso.
Yeah, mine's all about getting it crushed down to the point where I could bicep slice you.
Oh, yeah,
And then
okay,
even if I'm not bicep slicing you, I can still work like my omoplata transitions and things like that. So yeah, I do play like a modified sort of lasso. I've got a training partner who's featured in my apparently super creepy photo, might I add. He's like one of the better lasso guard players in our
Who's
gym. Brian Krantz. And we travel around together. We go to tournaments and whatnot. And he's gotten pretty proficient at lasso. So I've kind of encouraged him to like study it and perfect it. And then I'm going to be like, okay, now that you got it down, I want you to teach me, because I don't have time to necessarily invest in all these guards and games. I see somebody who's got an aptitude for it, likes playing that style. Cool. Encourage that. And then hopefully I'll suck some of that up just through osmosis and the rest of it up through actual questions.
Right.
But yeah, I still have like Keenan talked about, I think this was in a Reddit post that I read. Keenan talked about like it takes him a while to switch gears going from no gi back to gi. Maybe it's the other way around. Regardless, but look at the stuff he does and is famous for. Like he's using a lot of like lapel guard stuff, like his worm guard, what's he call it? The gubber guard, where it's like
newer one,
where it's rubber guard using the lapels and if my game was like that, I'd be freaking lost, without those grips and whatnot. But I don't prefer that, so it's really easy. Like I literally transition, week in, week out. Like there's never a week where I'm doing all no gi or all gi. Right. So the core of my game stays pretty similar regardless of what I'm doing, and then it's just certain specifics change here and there because I can get away with this move in no gi, whereas you can't because they'll grab your collar or something and slow it down, or I can only do this because here's one of those techniques where I do need a specific grip. I like that style. It works well for me. Other people, definitely prefer to specialize. And then I feel like a lot of times they get into that, well, I'm out of my element now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely, for me, because it's, again, the whole idea of like the self-defense. I can't play all these crazy gi like lapel guards and all this other stuff. I'll experiment with it, but sometimes it's just, oh, I'm there. Let me see what happens here. Oh, okay.
Right.
Because it's like, it's not, you know, the whole idea of like gi is more realistic for the street versus no gi.
I love getting into this argument. Let's go.
I mean, I don't think there's really much, for me, it's not much of an argument. I think it's one helps the other.
Right.
Because I prefer gi, but I love no gi. I think for me, my no gi game helps with the scramble and just fast motion, just being able to think really quick on my feet. Whereas the gi game, I think it helps me with a little bit better control.
Yeah.
And I'm able to transition, but I'm right there with you on the whole one, you have attributes from both that help each other, you know.
For sure.
And I think it's, I'm not going to, I tell people, if you feel like no-gi, that's fine. That's okay. I think that's fine. And obviously you have people that won't do anything outside the gi.
Right.
But I think if you have that understanding of like, you could make it applicable. I can't even talk right now. But if you make it for both, then you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
I think it's important to do both because, again, we always talk about the whole idea of like, we live in Chicago. If you have to use these stuff, people aren't going around fighting in Vale Tudo and
Right. Yeah.
Speedos.
This isn't a beach in Rio.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And if you were to do that, I would just be like, I don't know where you're going, where you're getting into fights with dudes in Speedos to begin with.
I mean, I can think of some very specific places.
Some specific places. Yeah. I'm not going those places.
I was just going to say the local sauna. Come on.
That's true. Like I loved Eastern Promises, by the way, but
Excellent reference.
Thank you very much.
Love that movie.
It's a great movie.
Maybe not that scene.
That scene it's a great scene, but it's still
a brutal scene.
It's such a brutal. Have you seen
I
that?
have no idea what you guys talking
Okay,
about.
Oh wow, we just talked right over.
Totally clueless.
Hold on. If we recommend this movie wholeheartedly, and I promise you, it doesn't feature superheroes.
Okay.
Or unicorns or any shit that would apparently offend your sensibilities.
It does have
Will
Viggo
you
Mortensen in it, though.
He doesn't know who that is because Viggo's most famous for Lord of the Rings.
That's true. Okay.
But if I tell you how awesome this movie is, will you actually check it out?
I'll check it out. What is it?
Eastern Promises.
That's the name of the movie?
That's the name of the movie.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
How come I've never heard of this movie?
Because you have terrible taste in movies
I
and
see.
friends like Paul Maloney.
Although Paul would agree with you that I have terrible taste in movies. 100%.
Yeah, no, I don't want to even really tell you much about it.
Okay.
It's just, let me just say,
What year did it come out?
ooh, that I would,
I want to say
2000s-ish.
Yeah, mid 2000s.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that.
What's the premise?
It's a badass gangster movie.
Okay.
End of story.
Russian gangsters.
Yeah, Russian gangsters.
Voznivor. There you go.
Real good levels of ultra violence.
Okay. Like John Wick style?
This is to be fair, I think we could actually say this is in some ways a more realistic version of John Wick.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eastern Promises.
Yeah, this is a very cool movie. Okay.
Okay.
And it ain't winning no Oscars or anything.
Okay.
But like it's good.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's solid.
Is it available on Netflix?
Not sure on that one.
Amazon Prime?
Maybe. I mean, we have internet access here. You could Google that.
Okay.
But yeah, you may need to purchase it through some digital source or actually buy a DVD. Do people do that anymore?
I don't think so.
Man, I should make an offer here right now on air. I was going to mention this before. So during the BJJ Fanatics holiday sale, I got a whole bunch of things, and I don't know whether I clicked a wrong button. Actually, I take that back. I do know that I did not click a wrong button. I bought Seth's Fight to Win system. Okay. Seth from Fight to Win.
Right.
Just like on a whim, I'm like, oh wow, it's on sale for like $30. Sure, I'll click on this. Like maybe he has I know he's got good foot sweeps. I know he's hit a fair number of twisters. Like maybe there's actually really good content in here. And by the way, I also knew that he choked out Brittany with that triangle, with like that yes. whole thing went viral. So I'm like, it's like $30. I'll grab it. And they were offering a free Gameness T-shirt with it. And I never got that T-shirt. Instead, what they actually sent me, and I guess this is technically better, they sent me a copy of the DVD. which I have no functional use for because I'm just going to always stream this thing through the website. So yeah, like I have this utterly useless copy of Seth's DVD. Right. We should figure out some online giveaway for the fans.
There you go. Pretty good idea.
Yeah. Like I said, it's completely useless to me. Maybe we can start doing that through our sponsors and whatnot. If anyone wants to send us gear for on-air giveaways and whatnot, I totally make that a thing. But yeah, so I have this DVD. Maybe we'll figure out a contest or something to do with it. But so I actually started watching it.
Okay. Is it bad? Or are you laughing for?
Because Seth is a fucking animal.
No shit.
It is the most magnificently unprofessional, hysterical. Like, there's nothing really wrong with the techniques. It's just like his presentation is so Seth. Yeah. Like he, within like the first couple of minutes, like his opening thing, like he starts with like, just like a fight would start. He's like, let's do our techniques on the feet. And he's like, I call these 3 foot sweeps the what is it, the Rick James, the Gravitron 3000, and the Bully. And he's like, I know that's not what they're fucking called in judo. You want to learn the judo names? Go get a fucking DVD by a judo guy.
Fucking Seth, man.
And the whole time he's like that. He's like, I call this move the inverted triangle back crusher ? Because he doesn't actually really have a name for it. And they're like, I just imagine Bernardo off camera, just being like, Seth, I need you to name the moves. We have to market them some way. And he's like, this is the thing I do.
Is it on par with the Mario Sperry, like the pussycat punches, the pussycat punches? Don't. And I'm not gonna say the word he says, but
no, but that was unintentional comedy.
Yeah, that was completely unintentional.
Seth for sure knows he's
trying to.
There's several times where like he's like, I'm gonna choke Brittany, and by the way, she's cracking up over the thing that I just said. I'm shocked that there's not like more laughter coming from off camera throughout. Yeah, like
unreal.
I'm not talking it up because because he's a past guest. I'm not talking it up because he's a friend of the show, and I'm not talking it up because I'm trying to get rid of his DVD with some contest. I'm saying it's actually a good time. Like if that's your thing, if you're not going to be offended by excessive curse words and inappropriate speech, it's a literally fun DVD to watch.
Yeah. Aren't they coming up with number 100 coming up soon?
Yeah, like Hawaii, right?
I think so.
Yeah, coming up soon.
Wow. Man, it's crazy.
Yeah. Go big or go home, man. Plus we got he's promoting he's going to be doing Fight to Win Judo now.
Yeah, what's up with that?
What's up with it? What do you mean, what's up with it?
It's like is it going to be like with jiu-jitsu or just on its own?
If I'm understanding him correctly, I don't think there's any intention of making the whole show judo, just having special rules matches.
Well, why? Why is he?
Because he wants to see big, beautiful throws and
is that what he's doing?
awesome submissions. He wants.
But so it's judo throws with jiu-jitsu. It's not a judo match where it's judo rules.
Well, sort of. Okay.
Oh, it is.
It's modified fight to win rules. Okay, that's all it is. Basically,
what does that mean?
I'm getting to it. Basically, all the shit you could do in fight to win, which, as we know, is like damn near any submission, although it's going to be judo, so I'm going to assume that they're going to have the same rules against reaping and heel hooks in the gi that they've implemented in gi jiu-jitsu. Yeah. The only addition is you can win by submission or you can win by an ippon, but you need 2 of them. So, like, I throw you for a nice clean throw. I've got a point, basically. If I can throw you again with a nice clean throw, match is over.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're going to stand you up. It's just...
I don't think they're going to encourage any forced stand-ups.
Yeah.
But, like, if you get, like, a high-level judo guy in there, which is what they got going on right now, he might be able to take out a really good, submission guy with throws without that guy ever even having a chance to submit him. But I can't remember. They might have a rule against guard pulling, like straight up guard. Like you can't just like go out there and sit Eddie Cummings style, but you can definitely do sacrifice throws regardless. So there's ways where a guy who knows what he's doing can still force it to the ground. And I don't think they've got any stand-up rules. So if you can force it to the ground and keep him there, submit him, you know, you can still run your ground-based offense. So obviously if it doesn't work, I think Seth's, smart enough, savvy enough to be like, let's drop that. But he's going for it.
Interesting.
So I'm definitely interested to see how it is.
I mean, you're a judo guy. I'm clearly not a judo guy.
So not a judo guy.
But I don't know. I can see how some people might find that appealing. I don't understand it yet. I don't know what has to do with fighting jiu-jitsu matches.
Okay,
you
so
throw in judo rules.
Fight to win isn't just jiu-jitsu, though.
I know slams are allowed and all that stuff, but now it's like, oh, well, if he slammed you twice, then he wins. That's just for the audience is going to be like, well, what just happened? Why did that guy won? Now you have to explain a whole nother sport to the audience that we're trying to like get into do jiu-jitsu. Now we gotta.
I don't think it's going to be that hard.
I hope not.
To be like, if he gets dropped on his back hard,
but it's like
twice, it's
people
over.
Are gonna now start. Like the layman, like the person who's just a fan of jiu-jitsu is now going to be introduced to judo, and they're like, "Well, now we're going to watch judo." What's
it's not
this?
Judo though. Like I know he's calling it
fight to win judo,
right?
So
but it's not like judo. There's
I
almost
know.
no.
But you can
extra
see
intricacy.
a little bit of like where some
every other
confusion
sport they
be.
understand like what a takedown is.
All I'm saying is that to win an MMA fight, you either knock out or submit him, not throw him twice and then you win.
Well, yeah, but if you knock him out with the throw, you win.
But you know what I'm saying, right? They're going to actually stop the match with the guy just gets thrown, and they stop the match and he just wins.
Oh yeah, but
you just
he has
win.
been thrown
you win.
multiple times. Like
yeah. You know what I'm saying, right?
I'm
it's just a little for me.
I'm
it's a little
imagining
odd.
they're going to have some way
of
indicating. Oh, you got a point.
Yeah.
You know.
So we're going IBJJF points now.
No, just
for judo.
Special match that apparently offends your delicate jiu-jitsu sensibilities.
You're going down that road, like, and now we're just getting into like all these other. Why don't we next throw kicks in now or slaps?
I mean, we've already had a kick. AJ still recovering emotionally from it.
It's true. But you know what I'm saying? Like now, okay, does judo. Okay, well, what's after judo? Okay, now we're at MMA now. So now you're not differentiating between.
I mean, Seth might
else.
actually
do an
MMA show at some point.
Might.
Who knows?
I'm just saying, if it was fight to win, doesn't say throw the guy twice and you win.
We can put it on concrete, and we'll see how little you respect the throws. In that.
Well, that guy's not going to get up. Then you're not gonna out. Right.
There you go. You
sure.
won.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're not physically.
That's what we need to do next. Let's do it right on concrete.
The thing that amused me about this.
Or next, let's have knife against knife. Let's do knife fighting.
Oh,
that already exists.
That's cool too. Yeah.
Did you see night fights?
Yeah, that's been a thing for a while.
I just saw it.
What is that?
Oh, no, that's I don't know how many years, but that's been going on for a few years now over at M1
but it's
Global.
on TV where you dress up as a knight.
I'm sorry. Stop.
Yeah.
This is a new show you're saying?
It's a show on television.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were talking about the M1 Global thing where they let guys. Okay,
No,
sorry.
this is a
Go ahead.
television
This is
show
new to me then.
that we were watching TV and
I don't watch TV. I have no knowledge.
we were in Utah and with nothing else to do at night. We were like, fuck it, let's watch TV. And I don't know what channel was on, but they're like knights. So you dress up as full armor. You have real like whatever they fucking
blunt swords,
blunt swords or whatever, and you're fucking going at this dude in full gear, like full on night fights.
Yeah, I've seen this plenty.
KNI.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. It's fucking insane.
Do you hate it?
No, I'm intrigued by it because I like. Oh, you know, it was on the same thing as Forged by Fire.
Also the History Channel.
I was going to say this
History
definitely
Channel.
sounds like a History Channel show.
So because that's what
no
I'm
history on the History Channel, but
no history. But yeah, Forged by Fire I can get on board with because I used to be a metal guy. But then they had that commercial for Night. I'm like, whoa! And Paul was also like, what the fuck is that real?
So did you guys watch an actual episode of it, or just saw the coming attraction?
Just saw the coming attraction.
Okay.
But
I'm going to look that up because I did not know they were going to have a show dedicated to it. I just know they've done fights like that in MMA organizations.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember M1 Global had stuff like that. I just find it interesting that like it's sort of going to like this whole reality based scenario stuff. Like I saw a ad and then a video on YouTube about have you seen those gunfight Las Vegas things that they have?
What's
Oh
that?
yeah. Okay, so this is what it is. So they actually
This sounds super dangerous.
It does sound super dangerous. But what it is they put you in like all this tactical gear and then they give you those Glocks. They're actual semi-automatic pistols.
Okay.
But they have with the modified barrels, so you can't use actual like live rounds.
Okay.
You can only use like those paint rounds that they use like in training. So what they do is I think you can do like 1-on-1, you can do 2-on-2, whatever. But you just all of a sudden two people or whatever just things go off, and then they just go at each other, and they're just like shooting each other, like in like some I don't know. It looks
no, but it's not just paintball.
That's not just paintball.
You can
yeah.
actually get in there and mix it up with the guy.
Yeah, so you can even just do like
hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, you could do close quarters combat.
Wow.
Mixed with paintball.
That's pretty gangster.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a lot.
Is it like a maze thing? Is it like you're in a house, or is it like?
From what I've seen of it, yeah, it looks. I think it's a warehouse.
Yeah,
that
it's a warehouse
They've set
area,
up
yeah.
to look like a, like you're doing like a. Breach. Yeah. So I assume
and
it's
these guys have to find each other, or they're
Oh
just,
yeah, it's not like a big area.
I haven't seen enough of it to really,
Okay.
but yeah, it's not. It's deliberately kept in close quarters, so you can't just be like, yeah, there he is, bang, 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 shoot him from across the way. Like you're going to be coming in a door, he's going to be going, sitting there and whatnot. So yeah, like it's to encourage the actual close quarters combat experience that you'd have. Like
Can they punch each other?
Oh yeah,
No, they're showing like
Takedowns,
throws, takedowns, submission
on.
holds, and
Yeah.
whatnot. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who knows if it'll actually wind up like that? That was obviously a scripted scenario for the commercial.
Yeah.
but
But I heard it's really big with like operators and like SWAT team members. And stuff
I was just gonna
like
say,
that.
like
Yeah.
Alex Embry probably trains this on a weekly
it's
basis.
daily, right?
Yeah, he's like, this is boring.
Yeah, fuck. I
But,
this is my Monday morning.
But I think the way they have it advertised is anybody can do it.
Right.
You can just go in like no experience, or maybe you're like a gun enthusiast and
Right,
just
right.
like I want to be able to do something like this,
Right.
Right.
And
Well,
then-
yeah, that's for sure got to be the fantasy of a lot of dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Who's just like, man, I can get the experience of like killing some terrorists or.
I mean, what's next? Is it gonna be like duels next? Is that gonna bring that back?
We're bringing it back just like we do in the
duel.
Philippines.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
there's
totally
gonna
thing.
be
We should talk about that.
choose your gun and back to back, 10 paces, turn around.
Are we still talking paintballs, or you
No,
you
I'm
think
talking about real.
We're talking about the movie The Duelist now. We're going on movies now.
What the fuck
He
is that?
definitely doesn't know that
I
either.
know.
I don't know that one.
Good movie, but
I
anyways.
mean, with the way reality goes, I mean, I was shocked that night fight. I was like, gee, those look like real fucking. They look like
They're not.
virtue.
I mean, they're not real swords per se. Like
They look pretty
they're
fucking
effectively real swords, but they don't have like an edge on them.
But
There's
fuck,
no.
hit him in the head with it.
Oh yeah, no. You're,
yeah.
It's fucking hurt.
Yeah, it definitely hurts. 100%.
I would like to know how's it like? The guy lays down, or does he tap out? Like, what's to enough?
well,
yeah, he's like,
at
because
least-
he's full gear, you can't see his face.
At least in M1 Global, like they're kind of scoring it vaguely like you would score an MMA
Like
match.
a fencing match? Oh no.
No, like good powerful hits and
I
whatnot
see.
count as like
Effective strikes.
Effective
Oh,
strikes.
okay,
yeah.
okay.
But yeah, they do have submissions, like guys have been armbarred and whatnot. So yeah, it's interesting. It's pretty cool. I haven't seen very much of it.
Check
but
out that history channel.
Yeah, I want to see what the rules are and
Yeah.
what they allow. We also got karate combat now. Is like
Yeah, I did see
everyone's
that,
loving
yeah.
that's
Well,
seen.
is that on Fight Pass?
I believe
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I got a thing on.
Yeah, I got a notification now.
Yeah, me too.
And I was
From
like,
Hollywood.
I'm like, what the fuck
karate
is this?
fights.
Karate? What?
Yeah, so it's and Boss Rutan was talking about this on Rogan the last time he was on because Boss is involved in it. But yeah, they're trying to bring back like karate, full contact sparring to the
not
masses.
just point.
No,
It's not just point.
yeah.
I believe Boss said there's still some target limitation that Rogan was like, dude, you got to do away with that. So I don't know if they did or if they're keeping that. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, like you can like sweep a guy down and like punch him when he's down and whatnot, but you can't just like engage in like full out ground and pound. Like you got to be like knee on belly. You can't like take mount. There's no submissions or anything like that. It's all striking. But the cool thing is the arena that they're
ramped.
in. Yeah, it's
Like Bloodsport?
no, you're actually thinking of Lionheart, sir. No, sorry. It's not the ramped Lei like in Bloodsport. It's much closer actually to the pool fight in Lionheart.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
not that elevated for
Okay.
but yeah, you're in a slight pit. So and it curves on the sides. So you don't want to like run up the out of bounds area, but you're also not dealing with actually getting backed up against a cage per se.
Okay.
So yeah, that alone changes things nicely, and it's really cool for visibility.
It does seem like that the combat area is a lot bigger than
Yeah,
an
there's
octagon
a lot of room to move.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah,
of room
I
to
don't know
move.
what the actual like square footage is, but there's definitely a lot of room to move.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm on board with this as a thing.
So the event already went off?
I haven't seen it, so
Okay.
yeah,
But you can watch on Fight Pass?
Yes.
Okay. The replay.
But yeah.
Any
so
big names in karate nowadays or no?
Not that I know.
I'm sure there are.
I mean,
I just don't really.
Yeah, the world
I'm
of
not in
karate,
that
they
world.
probably
Karate
have
Hottie
names.
is the only one I've ever heard of.
John Fonseca, hit us up. We could bring John on. That's actually a good idea on air. Write that down.
The man, the legend.
Yeah. By the way, I should give a shout out. I'm glad you came in, man.
Well, I'm glad you invited me. This is fun.
Yeah, no, you were on our lengthy list, and I was just like sitting there. I was thinking, who are we going to bring on? And one of our mutual friends, Jesse McFarland, just
Oh yeah, I know Jesse.
yeah. He just he wound up to me. He's like, you know who you should have on? I'm like, he's gonna like say Hickson Gracie or something like that. Like everyone thinks I have all this pull with these giant big name jiu-jitsu guys and whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, who? He's like, Ed. I'm like, I know Ed. Why haven't we had Ed on? So yeah, just a weird thing. So I'm glad he suggested it. And I'm glad it worked out.
Jesse, big ups to you. I still have that video of you slapping that dude at your first Naga.
Oh, I haven't seen this video. Was it an accidental slap or?
Well, it was one of those where, okay, so it's his first competition ever.
Okay.
We're up in Milwaukee. And so he's just trying to set up a takedown. And on the takedown, he's just like patting the guy on the head sort of hard.
Right.
Like a few times.
Okay.
Like, I mean, 3 or 4 times. He's not shooting, and I'm like, Jesse, you need to shoot in after that. You're
Right.
supposed
Trying to
be
get that
this
timing
guy.
down.
Get the timing down. And then the guy just slaps him back.
Like full in the face, like
just like
5
whack
fingers
right on his head.
Oh, okay.
It's just like it was just sort of
He
like
gave him a thump.
Yeah, he gave him a thump. It wasn't like where it would be considered a strike.
Right. But
But it was enough to be like, hey, dude, do something. Come on.
right now for sure.
That's funny.
I may have said this before, but I'll say it again. One of our friends at 10th Planet, Brandon McCaffern, he's not a wrestler at all, but he figured out very early on that most of the guys he would go against also not wrestlers. So his move, his gangster go-to move is every match he walks out there, he gets in a good stance, and he thumps them on the back of the head with a collar tie as hard as he can.
Oh, a nice club.
Yeah,
A nice
if
club.
they're an actual wrestler, they smile and he gets taken down. but if they're not, a lot of times guys are like, "Oh shit, this guy's a wrestler," and they sit.
Pull. Oh yeah.
I remember teaching one of my my good friend's son when he was in high school wrestling, because he knew I was doing jiu-jitsu for a long time. So he'd always ask me, hey, do you think you can show him something that he can use in wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, this is a little gray area. I showed him how to club necks. I mean, it's not illegal. It's
Right.
gray area, but boom. And he would just like the club and snap the guy's neck down. And I remember him like a couple of weeks later getting in contact with me and just goes, you know, my coach asked me where I learned it. And he goes, and then he said, no, don't tell me. Just keep on doing what you're doing because it's effective.
Right. And now is that more from your Muay Thai that you felt, or is that from your jiu-jitsu, or both?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's one with the Thai boxing one. I'm nice getting to plum with people because they're my students. I'm not trying to hurt them or anything like that. But it's the whole idea, like once you get to that plum position, boom, you need to be on there. You need to show dominance, and it's like that in wrestling. So you need to be able to like the whole idea of the gentle art. I tell that it's a little bit of a bullshit to say it's a gentle art. You just have to understand it should be gentle on you. Fuck everybody else.
That's funny. Yeah, a lot of times teaching class, I see people do technique and they're just like when I show technique, I sweat. Like I'm sweating because I have to show it properly. I'm not trying to be lazy with the technique.
Right.
So I'm like showing them technique and I'm like, fuck, I'm fucking working out here. But then I'm seeing them do it and they're like not breaking it. So I'm like, you guys have
Stop
to
half-assing it.
Yeah, I'm like, you came here to work out. We're here to work out. We're not, making pottery. We're doing jujitsu. So let's get more aggressive with, doing these techniques and not half-assing it.
I think sometimes, especially with like, as you say you teach like the beginners
Yeah.
course, and I know you teach. You get this thing that I get where it's just sort of like people are just, and I say this all the time. I go, you guys are a little bit too nice when you're demonstrating, or you're trying to, because you lose that you have to get that this idea that I call intention and intensity. I tell my students like all the time, I'm like, you don't have to kill them, but you have to have some intention. I have to understand what the purpose is of putting your hand in the collar and putting it and then squeezing tight. What is your intention? Are you just going, oh, are you going to tap now? Or no, I'm going to put you to sleep.
Right.
And I
I
think,
want my training partners to be scared when I have to demo a technique on them.
oh, it's like one of those things. Like
When Javi, just real quick, when Javi would use me as his what do you call it?
okay,
Assistant, whatever. And he'd sit there and slap in, like, just demonstrating the heel hook or demonstrating straight ankle or demonstrating toe hold. I'm literally beads of sweat. I'm not doing the technique. I'm just laying there and I'm just sweating profuse. I'm like, fuck me right now. Because it is like, his technique is so on point that I know that I'm so fucked. And I know he's not going to hurt me, but just being there, I'm like, motherfucker, I'm so fucked. It just takes me to a place where I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to be here.
I get that one of my students sometimes too. Like I'll pick the high rank in the room to demonstrate with, and sometimes the highest rank I have is like a 3-stripe white belt.
Okay.
And sometimes it's my purple belt Chris, you know. But it's just one of those things. I'm like, okay, here we go. Well, let's feel it. And I'll put it on, not to the point where I'm hurting somebody, but I'm like, you guys need to think about what you're actually doing here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all here. Everyone at the academy is here for different reasons. Some people
Right.
want that workout. Some people want to learn how to fight. Some people are learning self-defense. Some people want to compete. Some people want to whatever.
Socialize.
They'll socialize, exactly. No, it's very true, though.
true.
You know.
I accept that. I still have to laugh about it. Like the number of guys that I know, and not naming names, where it's like very clearly this has replaced your like local elk club or
Right,
whatever,
right.
whatever they used to call those things.
Yeah.
You know, like this is your hangout away from home. I get it. You know,
Some
of those guys are actually really good still, but like
Yeah.
you would suspect not because you know they just seem to be hanging out.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, and it's just one of those things. When I'm having them drill, I'm like, I'm the type of person who likes to set a clock. I'll set a clock. I go, okay, you have 4 minutes to do the technique,
work the technique,
to work the
right.
technique. And it's something I think I saw the first time I started doing is when I was in LA and I was at Cobrinha's and I took one of his classes.
That guy knows some jujitsu.
Oh, just a little bit. And it was interesting. Like he showed a technique. He showed like a chain of the techniques, and then he set a clock for 10 minutes. And he said, "Okay, one side, go 10 minutes."
Oh wow.
And then 10 minutes are up. Okay, side
Switch,
two,
yeah.
switch. Now you get to go.
Yeah.
And then after that, he was watching the room. And then he was seeing like all these common mistakes that people were making.
And then he reteaches.
Yeah, and he reteaches. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing everyone doing. This is the common things that people are doing. Let me give you some extra detail on that. And then he said another time, 10 minutes, and then 10 minutes. That was the class. And I got a lot out of that. I was just like, wow, that's actually a really good way to teach it. I mean, you give them the framework, let them explore it a little bit.
Right.
And then you see what everyone's doing wrong.
Right.
And then you give them that. And I know everyone's going to make some mistakes a little bit different.
Yeah,
than
but some of
others.
those mistakes don't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But they're the most common things people are doing. And then
Right.
giving those details. I'm like, that was a really good class. That was amazing. That was really good.
One of the things that I do, and I think I got it from you, Javi.
Oh, I was just going to say that. Yeah, go ahead. Let's see if you did. I'll let you know.
So, like, for instance, like when I start, so I do sweeps week. I do, I have a different week of everything. So one week would be, whatever, rear naked choke and arm bar and triangle. So it's a beginner's class. But one thing that I noticed that, like, some people just tap, and that training partner is just like, oh, tap. But I don't think the technique was there. Now, if they're doing a rear naked choke, I'm like, is this guy just tapping because he's just, like, how
Soft.
deep is he going, right? So I will then tell the person, put it on me. This way I know you're doing it.
Right.
Like, because I know what it's supposed to feel like to go out. I know what it's supposed to feel. I know if you have it or not.
Right.
Whereas this guy who's also a white belt or, whatever, he might just be, okay, yeah, it hurts a
Right.
little bit.
Hasn't been there yet.
Hasn't been
Doesn't
there
know.
yet.
Yeah.
So I will go around the room and just have the students just, okay, choke me. Put it on me. Let me see if your technique is proper. And I think you, something you
I do
did.
that. Like I do that a lot for like I do it in general, mind you, but I especially do it with techniques that I know that guys aren't getting much time with other instructors. So like a lot of times I get brought in to teach ankle locks or heel hooks or things like that, other kind of obscure oddball submissions, and I'll be like, okay, like A, I'm going to do this to you so you know what it's supposed to feel like,
Right.
and then B, I want you to do it to me, and I'll tell you if you're on the right path or not.
Right.
And it's a fairly rare day when I'm teaching ankle locks that people just get it. But man, when they do, I really regret my decision to let everyone ankle lock me that day.
It's rare that I do that. It's one of those things like I could sort of see what's going on with it, and I just don't like. I'm like, I'm injured there. Don't touch me. Just don't touch me right now. But,
No. So it sounds like Cobrinha does a kind of similar thing. I'm actually very undisciplined with watching the clock. Like I like to walk around and give every group of students some personal attention. I try to time it so that I get to see both sides do a technique when they're trading sides. So I should probably steal that idea of setting the timer just to stop myself from teaching 3-hour lessons when I'm supposed to only teach one.
Yeah.
that's honestly one of the reasons why I do that, because I do when I'm teaching Thai boxing. I don't know how many times Bill is like, Ed, you're what the hell?
Your class is over 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You need to get this going.
Yeah, fortunately, usually I'm teaching in a time slot where there is no class after mine, so the only limitation I have is, oh shit, I got to get to work or something like that. Right. But yeah, so what I like to do is I'll demonstrate the technique, whatever portion of it I want them to work on, tell them, sometimes I'll show like, this is where we're going with this, but for now I need you to just work on this part. Then I'll walk the room, make sure everyone's doing it right. The whole time I am correcting things, but if I see like, if I've got like 20 guys and I go through and like 3 groups are already messing up one thing, I'm going to bring them right back in, stop the reps right there and be like, okay, everyone's doing this wrong. Let's do a full stop. Maybe I didn't explain it well. Maybe y'all weren't paying attention collectively. Don't know. But here's what you need to do. Let's correct that. Okay, you get it? Got it? Good. Go back to repping.
Oh, I've definitely done that before where it's just sort of like, and I don't know if it's me or you're right. If
I like to blame me even when I suspect it's not.
Yeah. Because I've had it where like, I don't know what you guys are doing right now.
Right,
it's just
yeah.
like
You've all clearly watched the same Gordon Ryan video. We're not doing that right
now. Speaking of time, we're getting to that marker right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're going. Man, a lot longer than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, well,
it
is what it is.
So
it was a fun conversation.
Where can people find you? All that good stuff.
Okay.
On the internet and in real life.
Yes.
Okay, so my Instagram is xedrock, EDROCX.
Is that an actual X-Men reference, sir, or just?
No, it's just because for a long time and still am straight edge, for the most part.
Okay.
But so the X's have always stuck with me. But I do love the X-Men.
Right.
I do love the X-Men.
We'll have to have you on and talk about that at length at some future date.
I'm absolutely down with that. But you can find me on Facebook. If I don't know you, I will vet you. But you can find me. My last name is Serra, Ed Serra, Serra. You can find me there. I'm on Threshold Martial Arts. We're in Mountain Prospect now. Just got my black belt after 16 years. Wow, that's a long time to think about. Yeah,
everyone's got a different path. Man.
Everyone's got a different path. I don't regret any moment of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but pretty much that's where you can find me. I'm. If you can find me on Twitter, it's a secret. Because
I don't think I have you on Twitter, man.
Yeah,
I might, but I don't think so.
Probably not, because that's where I say stupid shit all the time.
The challenge has been thrown down now.
Yeah.
Well, Ed, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Great.
It was a lot of fun. It was great. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, man. Are you going to show some technique?
Yeah, if you want me to, I can.
I brought a gi. I
brought
also brought a no gi.
Oh, there you go.
I'm down. I can show you something that I like working on. One of my favorite passes that I do.
Is it a smashy pass? Because if so, I want you to do it on Zito.
It is not a smashy pass. And you said you were working a lot of close guard stuff. This is actually one of my favorite close guard. It's a break and a pass at the same time.
Oh, sounds good.
Something. I never say I invented it, but I did get a lot of inspiration from Eric Paulson and Fabio Gergel on this one.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go see it.
All right, cool.
All right. We'll see you. Bye.
All right.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Very Hard to Submit. Go to vhtsny.com and check out their kimonos, compression gear, and apparel. This is a brand we are excited to be supported by. Their gear is high quality with a clean design. Go to vhtsny.com and see for yourself. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. For more information about Grappler Union Podcast, you could visit us at our website at grapplerunion.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Grappler Union. Please like us on Facebook. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes. And all of our episodes are available on our YouTube channel. Say what?
Be sure to subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe to all that shit. You got to do another take, right?
Oh.